Well, hello, Chris Rollins. It is so good to see you in person.
Great to be here, Meinoh. Thank you.
Thank you for coming here. I'm starting this new podcast series where I'm interviewing top realtors, Solano County, Contra Costa, Napa, Sacramento. And of course, you and Teresa Rollins are a powerhouse. And I'm so grateful to have you here and taking the time. So thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yes. So what I like to do, Chris, is I like to start off with, I call it a lightning round. And the lightning round is just kind of to break the ice a little bit. And I'm just going to ask you some quick questions. First response that comes to mind, just throw it out there.
Sounds good.
Right? Okay.
Sounds good.
So we'll start with favorite pizza topping.
Ooh. Gosh, that's probably going to have to be jalapeno.
I like the jalapenos too.
A little spicy.
They're pretty good. I like that. Favorite book.
Favorite book. Wow. Gosh, I'm going to have to go with Moby Dick.
Moby Dick. I like. That's what this round is for.
This won't make.
This
won't make the reel.
Yeah. What about your favorite movie?
Top Gun by far.
Let's go.
Original Top Gun.
Let's go.
I really love the second one, but Top Gun.
Do you know that Jilly? I call her Goose, and she calls me Mav.
That's hilarious.
We've been that way. She's been with me for 11 years.
That's
been our nicknames for each other.
And mine was Iceman.
Yours was Iceman. Oh, look at that. We have our own Top Gun.
I'm telling you.
I love that. Since you and Teresa are always working, who's more right, you or her?
Since we're recording, it'll be Teresa.
Yeah, I like that. What is harder, writing a contract or planning a family vacation?
Oh, gosh. I'm going to have to say family vacation for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the most favorite thing you love about working with Teresa?
Well, getting to spend time with her for sure. Before this, I was working hours and hours and hours in the city, which was a 4-hour commute both ways, 2 hours each way. So 4 hours total a day, full day work there. So I would leave before she was up. I would get home. We'd have dinner together, and then we'd start all over again. So,
shout out to you, Teresa. Shout out to you. And the final question is, what is your favorite song? Actually, you know what? I'm going to take that back. Let's not do song. I'm going to change it up. If your clients could say one word about you, Chris, what is that word?
Responsive.
I love that. All right. That was good. That was a good lightning round. And I just wanted to dive right into this. Let's talk a little bit about you and how you got into the business. So I know Teresa was selling real estate for a while, but you were talking about commuting to the city and such. So what were you doing prior to real estate?
So I was senior management with several very large IT organizations, very well known in the Bay Area. I was in the Marine Corps, served in the Marine Corps, loved that, got out, got into IT, spent a 30-year career in IT, and just so happened with timing that I ended up joining Teresa. Our company was StubHub, secondary ticket marketplace, live events, right? Concerts, things like that, and part of eBay. And so we had really grown this company very large. The original owner that sold this company to eBay came back with some very deep pocket backing and purchased StubHub back off of eBay. Really good price tag for eBay. Timing couldn't have been better. So the timing of the purchase happened February of 2020. Mind you, these are live events. March 23rd, 2020.
I remember that year.
COVID shutdown.
Yeah.
So timing for eBay could not have been better for that sale. I took a very generous pay to leave. after this buyout. I talked it over with my wife, and we both agreed that, hey, why don't you take 6 months off, right? I've been working for 30 years in this business, long time, right? So took 6 months off. That was the plan. And then COVID hit. The real estate market at that time, some people may not be aware, but if you're in real estate, you know, the market blew up. It was crazy. So people who had rented homes or had, paying exorbitant fees in San Francisco wanted to move out of San Francisco. If I'm going to work remotely, I want a larger home. If I'm going to be working from home all the time. People just outside the city wanted to move further out. So it's extremely busy time for real estate market at that time. And Teresa was swamped. She was absolutely just swamped. I mean, and I'm supposed to be relaxing at home, right? and I see
what retirement?
Yeah, I see her just working her tail off. So she actually just one day just brought it up to me and just threw it out there and was like, "Hey, what do you think about maybe getting your license in real estate and helping me show some houses?"
Was it really like that, or was it, "Hey, Chris, you need to get your license"?
No, it really was a discussion that we had right now. I'm like, oh, you know what? I could do that. Studied, passed my real estate exam, started helping her show some houses. And then during that time frame, I just found out how much I absolutely love this industry. Just love this industry. Not just the fact that I get to work with my wife. She's amazing. She's incredible. You've known her for a long time.
Yeah, she's absolutely amazing.
But come to find out, I really absolutely love this. And so meeting new clients, helping them, first-time home buyers have the dream of owning a home, right? So it's been absolutely amazing. My only regret is not starting this earlier. I'm not looking back. I'm not going back to IT. So yeah, this is definitely our.
That says a lot.
Yeah,
that says a lot because, well, first and foremost, thank you for your service for serving in the Marines. How long were you with the Marine Corps for?
I was in for 5 years.
You were there for 5 years.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you. I love working with veterans, and I work with veterans all the time. Same with active duty as well. So thank you again for your service. I don't want to bypass that, but I'm a huge advocate on things happening for a reason. I remember the COVID times. I remember it because I was also extremely busy as well. And to Teresa's point, having support really does matter, especially with someone you trust, because there's a lot of turnover in real estate, and there's a lot of backstabbing too, and throat punching as well. And it happens where you least expect it. Somebody you trust, there's a lot of people you pour into, and then they're completely gone. So what better person could she bring on than you? And the fact that you loved it so much, and to say that you would never go back into IT, especially with all this AI out right now, is a huge testament to your passion and love towards the industry. So that's incredible. So let's talk about husband and wife partnership in real estate. What would you say each of you bring to the table?
So the way Teresa and I work, we kind of like divide and conquer. So I do what I call a lot of the outside work. So I meet with the clients, I show them properties, schedule those for them, set them up on their own search portal. So we weed out all of the homes that doesn't really match their criteria, help them kind of narrow that search down. Go through all the inspections with the clients there. Teresa writes up the offers, works the escrows. So a lot of the times it's clients meet with me in the beginning through that search process. Once we identify a property, then Teresa kind of steps in and gets offers accepted, works those escrows, making sure that everything is running smoothly, and then we kind of come back together in the end to give keys, which one of the most rewarding portions of this job. Yes.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. Would you say so? Each of you have a task. Is that what makes a successful working relationship? Because there are quite a few married couples that do have a working partnership, but why does your partnership work versus, they always say like never work with family. It's kind of tough. Like, why would you say it really does work for the both of you?
Well, I'm not going to say it's always easy, right? Working with your spouse all day, it's hard to really turn things off work-wise, and just have that personal time. We take what I would consider micro breaks. So throughout the day, there are some downtimes that we can focus on some tasks around the house, or some things that need to get done, appointments set up that aren't work related, things like that. But it's really tough just to find that time to be able to turn things off, even in the evenings. Before the phone's gone, do not disturb. I mean, there's still conversations we're having about the next day, the plan for the next day. So, it could be 11 o'clock at night and we're still talking work sometimes, unfortunately.
So you said you work with a lot of the buyers. You also have a lot of listings though too. So how do you divide your roles with the listings?
With the listings, most of that we work together on those. We both meet with the clients at their listings. We go through, their home. If they are not moving before they're selling, so they're going to be there during the sale process, then we go through with them, help them with some light staging, decluttering. We go through that whole process with them, how things should look. Buyers, especially in this market condition right now, super picky, right? Super picky. So
elaborate on that a little bit more, please.
So we, in California, we're almost always in a seller's market. So, multiple offers on a single home, right? People are fighting, for those homes. Sellers basically, can just sit back and wait for the offers to roll in. Right now in a buyer's market that we've been in, kind of an extended buyer's market, it's really, really tough. Homes have to look right. Homes have to be easily and readily available to be shown. So it's really important that the homes look right when we're going through. So Teresa and I both go together for listing appointments, work with the sellers to make sure their homes are presentable, ready to show. Like I said, we do some light staging. We have our own staging equipment that we actually bring over and do some light staging.
Oh, nice.
If the home is vacant, so if they've already moved and the home is vacant, we actually have amazing stagers that come in and really set the atmosphere for the homes. We've got an amazing professional photography that comes through. He's also is his drone pilot, so we've got amazing shots around the home, or any features like parks, recreation facilities, pools, things like that. They're in the area that we need to highlight. He could fly over and do that as well. And that was if I have a suggestion to any sellers that are out there, if you have an agent that walks through and wants to take photos with their cell phone, fire that agent. Find an agent that brings in and does professional photography. Your home is, in most cases, some of the most valuable asset
that most folks will have in their entire life,
most people will ever own, right? Yeah. And so you want to make sure that especially in crazy buyers markets like we're seeing right now, you want to make sure you've got your best foot forward with that.
So let's talk about that. For buyers, like you said, they are more pickier. They're probably more pickier right now because they have more of an option today too versus before. So when COVID happened, the active listings that were available were practically none. You could see it, like they were in the double digits on active listings. Yes. And the ones that ended up staying were the ones that were the properties that were on the market for a super long time. And those homes stayed on the market for some other reason, maybe there was flooding or whatever, but it wasn't as desirable, or maybe it was just well overpriced. Mm-hmm. But now, inventory is up all around, and that's nationwide too. And so you definitely want the buyers now have more options with inventory. So as you were saying, it's important to stage your property and to make it look as presentable as possible. Absolutely. Because when you have a lot, it's supply and demand.
It's economics 101, supply demand. Absolutely, 100%. Looking at the inventory that we have available today, The last time we had inventory levels at this level was 2012. It's how long it's been.
That's wild.
Since we've had something that we're seeing right now. We've got a lot of first-time home buyers taking advantage of this market conditions that we're in right now.
What does that mean, taking advantage? How are first-time home buyers able to take advantage of a buyer's market?
So right now, with homes we're seeing, we're averaging right now. Our Solano, it's roughly 55 days on market. That's what we're seeing. That is, typically in a normal market. If you don't get an offer within the first 2 weeks, something's wrong, right? You're listed too high. Your home's not showing properly, right? Marketing wasn't working, right? Something was going on. Today we're seeing that number in the 55 range, and that's just because we have so much inventory out there for buyers to choose from. So with first-time home buyers that are out there, not a lot of them are financially able to compete, right, in a strong seller's market where deepest pockets win, right? And right now we're seeing, options where buyers are, allowing, giving them credit for closing costs, right? Coming, helping that buyer, achieve that dream of owning a home. So, or reducing the price of their home, right? So we're seeing a lot of this right now. So first-time home buyers absolutely 100% are, jumping in to take advantage of this market that we're in right now.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think for any homes that have been on market for 21 plus days, I'm starting to see that usually it's like the first week that passes, it's like, maybe it was just a bad week. Mm-hmm. Second week that goes by, it's like, maybe there was a holiday or maybe there was a football game and less buyers are out. Third week comes around and it's like, maybe the value of my house is not what I thought it was going to be. It might be time to lower the price.
Reality starts setting in for sellers, right?
Especially after week 3.
Yeah.
So then
feel like you're sitting on a gold mine, right?
In the beginning.
Sitting on a gold mine in the beginning, right? Oh my gosh, this is going to be amazing, right? By week 3, no offers, hardly any showings. Reality starts setting in.
Yeah, it definitely does. And then sometimes when the reality sets in, so rather than lowering the price, they might offer a closing cost credit.
That's correct.
And with first-time home buyers, they also have a lot of down payment assistance program. Like at my company, we have a down payment assistance program that assists even with the down payment. So if you use the down payment assistance plus you get a closing cost credit, you're technically buying a house without zero out of pocket.
Absolutely.
Minus your earnest money deposit, of course, and that would just get refunded back over to you. Yep. Veterans too.
Huge.
Because veterans, one of the benefits is with zero down. And if you're going in with zero down and you get a closing cost credit, you can buy the house with zero out of pocket, which is great as long as the payment is affordable. So yeah, first-time home buyers, I think, is a great opportunity. Let's talk about buyers. Actually, before I say let's talk about buyers, what do you think is easier, a buyer's agent or a listing agent? Yes, I went there.
I'm thinking of several options where you would say, you would argue back and forth on either side.
I like that though. No, keep going with that. I like that.
Yeah. So you've got some, I would say on the tough side for buyers, or you've got some buyers that may have this FOMO, right? This fear of missing out. I've got to see every house before I can make a decision, right? And that gets a little tough, right? When you're on your 4th weekend of showing multiple homes every single week, it gets tough, right?
30 homes within the 4th weekend.
It gets a little tough, right? And then you have some, on the seller side, sometimes it's, maybe they've collected a little more things over the years than maybe they should have. And, it's tough to get that home looking right before you go live. But, I would say for me, personally, I really enjoy working with first-time home buyers. The excitement, right? The thought of owning a home, and we have first-time home buyers at like vastly different time frames in their lives, right? So we've got first-time home buyers in their 20s, right? And just getting started. We've got a client that we met him when he's in his early 20s. You know him, and helped him get into his first home. He was single. Got him into a home. He moved in, rented out bedrooms, right, to friends, others. Then reached out to us and said, "Hey, Chris, Teresa, I'd like to buy another house." Oh,
Love that.
This is great. Let's do that, right? So we moved forward, find him a second house. Move forward. Less than 8 years later, he has multiple duplexes.
I love that.
He's met an amazing woman, gotten married, starting families, owns multiple homes at this point, right? So, and he's early 20s, right? Just starting out. It doesn't come with, a lot of money. This isn't like somebody who's like, got a silver spoon in their mouth and, can just buy homes at random. No, young guy,
regular job, working hard, saved up, put a minimum down payment, purchased his first home, waited on it, built some equity, had renters in, the whole Dave Ramsey thing. Now he's got multiple properties.
Yes. I mean, building
generational wealth.
Yeah. Right. Through real estate, which is amazing. We've got other first-time home buyers much later in life, right? I mean, much later in their life. I won't talk about their age, but much later.
Yeah,
first-time home buyers, right? We've got a client that recently closed this year that, health problems. He's on a waiting list for a kidney, and one of his dreams was to always own a home. So we got him and his wife into a home recently. So, and they couldn't be happier with that.
Yeah, I think there's definitely something very special. Actually, I don't think. There is something very special about helping folks achieve the American dream, helping folks achieve home ownership, helping folks achieve generational wealth. My story, like our lives would have completely changed had my parents not bought their first home. First home really makes a big difference because you build equity over time, you get the tax incentives, and that equity, you end up selling it, or you pull a home equity line of credit, you start a business, or you pay off other debt, or you get your child to go through college. I mean, a home has a lot of generational wealth advantages as well. But obviously, you don't want to be overextended and that sort of stuff. But first-time home buyers, yes, absolutely. Sellers are great too.
Absolutely.
Sellers are great too.
Absolutely.
I think one of the harder parts, though, being a listing agent during this time when it's a big buying agent or buyer's market is pretty tough when sellers believe that their home is worth more than the market dictates. And I think that's the challenging part of the market.
Yeah, that is really tough. I mean, we come to them with data though, right? So, here's comps. Here's what's selling in your area. Let's take a look at what your competition would be. Where's your competition priced at, right? So we actually go through that process with them. And a lot of times when you sit down and talk with them and show them the empirical data, then they understand, right? Now they understand where they are. This is a tough market for sellers right now. Really tough market for sellers right now. A success story though. Just recently, we're talking just a week ago, we had a listing go live at noon on a Friday. Open house scheduled for Saturday and Sunday. We had the home professionally staged, photographed, gorgeous, beautiful neighborhood, Cordelia. Sat down, talk with the sellers about pricing strategy. How we're going to get their market or how we're going to get their home sold. Listen to us, agreed with us, right? And move forward within 12 hours. In fact, the timestamp was midnight. We received our first offer. So within 12 hours of going live.
That's incredible.
In this market.
Where average days on market is 55 days.
55 days.
Yeah.
First offer.
Yeah.
Full price.
12
hours later. Open house. We ended up having over 16 couples come through this house. It was incredible. By the end of the weekend, we already had 4 offers, well over list price, and we have even a backup offer that's The first offer is going through, and it's a very smooth transaction, but we also have a backup offer for that. Just kind of unheard of in this market. But again, this is sellers that are willing to listen, to what's happening in the market, price accordingly.
So let's talk about that. There are agents out there that will take a listing and they will, and I'm not saying all of them are like that. I'm not even saying the majority are like that, but there are very small and few agents who will take a listing and tell the buyer what they want to hear based on what they expect to receive. And that's how they'll usually obtain the listing. Hence, home stays on the market for a lot longer. So advice to, sellers who are thinking about selling their property, what type of tips would you give them in vetting a good listing agent?
That's a really good question. So, I highly recommend do your research. Again, we talked about how the importance of protecting the value that you have in a very large purchase. Sometimes it's the largest purchase anyone will ever make in their life. So you've got a lot of equity built up, in that property. So absolutely do your research. Vet your realtor, any realtor, interview them, ask them hard questions. Look at the reviews, right? Make sure that, Teresa always, suggests this, if they're active, if an agent is active in this market, they should have at least 12 sales, right? On a minimum, right? Over the past 12 months, right? And that lets you know they're at least closing one a month. So they're involved. They know what the market conditions are. If you're out of, I don't want to harp on part-time agents, but if you're not actively involved in this market, you don't know the changes happen fast in a market. It's kind of a slow burn when you go from a seller's market to a buyer's market. It typically doesn't happen overnight, but we will see it switch from a buyer's market to a seller's market, almost like a light switch. So if you're not actively involved and understand how to properly evaluate the pricing of a house and in each market condition, you're not doing justice to your clients, right? So we always recommend vet your agents, look at the reviews, the relationship between an agent and their lender, extremely important to make sure that, a buyer, when they're coming in and we get an offer accepted from them, is going to be a smooth sailing that whole time. The agent for the listing, the agent for the seller, the listing agent, should also be reaching out to the buyer's lender, making sure, hey, are they fully underwritten? Approved?
Yeah.
Are they ready to go? Are we ready to move forward? Is there potential for snags, right?
Asking the right questions for the snags too.
Absolutely. Yeah. So extremely important. So I would say to any seller out there, if you're considering listing, take a look at and see how active your agent that you're considering to use has been. Look at the reviews. Make sure you've got positive reviews back through there. Teresa and I are extremely proud of our reviews. Every single one of them. You could read a review to me. I'll tell you exactly which client that was. About that. Yeah,
and you guys have a lot of reviews too.
We do.
Yeah, I know.
We do. We love all of them.
So let's flip it again. Like, what type of questions could you ask when you do vet a good listing agent? Like, how many transactions have you done? What would a seller know to ask them?
What's the plan for marketing?
Okay. What's the plan for marketing?
Right. The staging, right?
Staging.
Who's going to be responsible for staging? Photography. Right. And again, I brought this up earlier. If you've got an agent going through with their cell phone taking photos for your listing, consider another agent, right? You need to have a professional photography coming through. You need to basically make sure that this home is well marketed. You've got open houses scheduled. Yeah,
I think those are great. Those are great. I think that's a good starting point. What about buying agent? What makes a good buying agent, Chris, in your opinion? You've done a lot of buy-side transactions too.
We do. I think the most important thing is to make sure that the areas that you're targeting, you're using a local realtor in that area. Those realtors are going to know all the ins and outs of each neighborhood, the locations, right? We talk about location being the most important thing in real estate. Location. You can change anything you want about a home except for its location. That's it. You could tear it down and build a new house, but you can't change the location. So you need a realtor that really understands the different neighborhoods. So if you've got a young family, right? Young kids going to be in school, right? So maybe schools are one of the most important, right? So you need an agent that understands the different school districts, which schools they would recommend for clients that may be moving out of, into this area from out of area.
Yeah.
Teresa and I have had clients that are stationed in Germany, moving out here. They want to purchase a home before they arrive.
PCSing.
Right. From Germany
to Fairfield, California.
To Travis Air Force Base. Have no idea what Fairfield's about.
And they haven't. So they want to buy before they even are here.
Yeah. This has happened several times with us, right? So we'll go through the properties, Zoom call with them. Very different time zones, right?
How does that work, by the way? It's funny that you bring that up,
Yeah.
because I had the same question with Ben and Sarah McReynolds as well. So, how are you communicating with them? Is it Zoom, different time zones, apps? How are you communicating?
So most of our communication that Teresa and I have with our clients are text based. Obviously, we're available to take a call anytime. Teresa and I, we tend to put our phones on Do Not Disturb roughly around 11 o'clock at night, and then we'll turn it back on the next day. So we tell our clients all the time, hey, look, especially when they're in crazy different time zones like that, text us anytime, day or night, doesn't matter, right? As soon as we're up the next day, we'll respond. With some of these clients, they're again purchasing these homes, in essence, sight unseen, other than the Zoom calls that we do and the walkthroughs with them. The first time we're meeting the clients face to face is the first time they're getting their keys and seeing their own property.
That's
right?
wild.
So they put a lot of trust in us, and we take that very seriously.
Absolutely.
Large purchase, military family, right? And so we want to make sure that we understand their needs. So we have to listen to them, right? We have to ask questions of them to really try to dial in which neighborhood really would be good for them. Maybe they've got school-age kids, need amazing schools, right? So we need to have those discussions with them. So so we communicate a lot over text. We actually, Teresa and I both set up a text group with our clients in there. Teresa is really good at responding very fast. I mean, even if we're out to dinner, it doesn't matter, right? She's got her phone right next to her, and she responds within minutes of a text coming through. So we have a lot. You'll see on our reviews, a lot of that has to do with our communication. Teresa's really good at that. If I'm with a client showing a house, I just turn my phone off, and I'm with the clients at that time.
You're very present.
Very present
Yeah.
with that, right? Not taking phone calls, not responding to text, right? And I think that's where having two agents involved, like my wife and I involved at one time, while I'm doing one thing, she can be doing something else. It really helps our clients move forward with that. But as far as applications are concerned, we do have some clients that prefer to do WhatsApp. So we'll use WhatsApp with that. Text, phone call, Zoom. That's typically.
So it sounds like what makes a good buying agent then too is responsiveness, availability, service, communication, and always keeping folks in the loop. I think that's one of the craziest things. It blows my mind to hear and work with some clients sometimes that have zero, or they work with an agent and they only talk to them when they sign the buyer's broker comp. They sign the agreement with the buyer or the buying agent, and then they they show them a few houses, but they're not available. They'll schedule the open house for them to go see it, but they won't attend it. They won't be there. And then, they'll ask a question, but then they're on vacation or they don't respond. Communication is so key.
It really is. It really is. And a lot of clients, they just don't know. They just don't know better, right? Sometimes it's their, like I said, first-time home buyers, right? They don't understand when they are actually working with an agent that doesn't respond well. They just think that's the way it is, right? With the home buying process. Some clients feel like they need to go find the home, right? I need to go find the property for myself, right? And then let my agent know. We've got clients that are like, oh, I'll go to the open houses. I don't want to bother my agent, and I'm like, no.
Yeah.
There is no bother. This is what I'm here for, right? And so a lot of clients, once they've actually had a great agent, they know what they're looking for now. It needs to be very responsive in communication. No surprises, right? Let them know what to expect. Share timelines with them once you get an offer accepted, right? These are the timelines we're working toward, and why those are important. I think once a client actually has a great agent that they've worked with, they'll stick with that agent.
I agree. Same with loan officers too.
Same with loan officers.
If they have that good experience, I've helped a client, and that client referred me to another family member, and that family member referred me to another family member, and it's just you stay friends with them for a long time. Even when I go to Costco, I'll see them, and we're giving each other hugs and saying hello. You build a really trustful relationship that's built on trust. Yeah. Speaking of trust, the whole NAR settlement thing happened, and the buyer broker agreement came into play. A lot of agents are struggling with it, even today, which is crazy because the settlement happened some time ago. Has that changed anything in your business, or has it just been business as usual as well? Because it's kind of an awkward conversation saying, hey, I'm going to show you some homes. However, this is what you're going to have to pay me to do it, even though it's services rendered for your work and your time.
Yeah. There were several things that came out of that NAR settlement. I think a lot of people, looked at it initially and thought sky's falling. This is the end of real estate as we knew it, right? And when you actually dive into it and take a look at it, it really didn't change much, right? So I don't want to get into attorneys and things like that, but class action lawsuits, typically there's one party that gets paid, right?
Oh yeah, of course.
That's attorneys, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the whole point of it, right?
Yeah.
So in this case, so one of the things that came out was is that we now need to get buyer broker agreements signed, to represent a client moving forward. And NAR wants us to get those signed early on. So, let's just say that, we receive a phone call from a potential new client, talking with him for the very first time on the phone. And then we say, hey, by the end of this call, I'm going to send you a 4-page legal document I would like for you to sign. If I put myself in that buyer's shoes, I would be like, whoa.
Calm down.
Wait a minute.
We just met.
We haven't even shaken hands yet. Right? Yeah. I have no idea. Are you a call center? Where are you? Right. So it's a difficult conversation. So, Teresa and I really like to, meet clients for the first time, introduce ourselves, get to know us right before we even, consider doing something.
No, absolutely.
Like yeah.
So you want to build a relationship with them first, really get to know who they are. Because would you say you help every client, or sometimes sometimes does a relationship not make sense? I mean, the initial consult is very important.
Yes.
And I know we want to help everybody, but would you say that sometimes from that initial consult, have you ever had to turn clients away in that initial consult? Not just them signing your broker agreement, but just not a good fit?
Yeah, absolutely. Not everyone is a perfect fit, right? Some people are when they first reach out, there's wanting to have questions answered, and that's great.
Yeah.
Right. We love answering those questions, but sometimes it's there may be some clients that are a little unrealistic. Not with expectations of us performing, but maybe not knowing how things really work.
Well said. Well said. I totally get it. No, I work with clients like that all the time too. That's why I was just asking. But it sounds like it's business as usual, normal.
Absolutely. There hasn't been much change at all. Now before the law the settlement, a listing agent would work with their seller to predetermine what compensation will be for a buyer's agent. That's no longer the case now. A listing agent will negotiate their compensation with their seller, and now buyer's agents submit as part of the application or part of the offer presentation what they would like as their compensation. So it's all negotiable at this point. So that's the big change.
Yeah, but I feel like it's always been there though too. At the same time, kind of, right? It's just now there's just more transparency for some of the agents who weren't as transparent as they should have been in previous years.
Yeah, for sure. If you bring a strong offer, in and you're asking for a little bit more compensation, I'll give an example. We were representing a seller, and we had this was last year, late last year, and we had multiple offers come in. One of the agents was two of the agents asking for 2.5%. Third offer was 3%, right, coming in. But the net of those offers, the agent asking for 3% was the higher net for our seller.
That makes sense.
It was a logical choice.
Yeah.
Right? So yeah, absolutely. It's so there was several changes, but the buyer broker agreement was one of those sticking points, right? So,
yeah, absolutely. So Chris, knowing, you've been knee deep in real estate now for over 5 years. Question is, are you excited about real estate in the coming year?
I'm very excited.
Why? I knew that was going to be your answer. Why?
Very excited. In the market that we're in right now, right, there is a pent up demand. You can feel it. It is, it's like tension, right? You can cut it with a knife right now. So there's definitely a pent up demand out there. And when the floodgates open, it's going to be a crazy market. So
I agree.
We've got a lot of sellers that are just waiting.
Yeah.
Right now, we've had great conversation with clients. We've had clients that we help them move into their replacement property, and they're just sitting with their departing properties, just waiting on the sidelines.
Yeah.
They don't want to list right now, right?
Yeah.
We've got a lot of that going on right now. They don't want to, compete in this buyer's market with that. They're in a great situation to be able to do that, though.
A lot of that will be contingent on rates. Meanwhile, as we're speaking right now, the feds are actually talking about cutting rates right now at this very moment.
Yeah.
Well, Chris, thank you for, spending time out of your day being here with me and talking with me. It's been a true pleasure. I do want to ask though, before we end this, if folks want to find you for a listing or buy side, how can they reach out to you and Teresa?
So Teresa and I are currently with RE/MAX, and so they can reach out to us. We're out of the Green Valley office.
Green Valley, Fairfield.
Green
RE/MAX.
Valley, Fairfield. Yeah, absolutely. I'll leave you with you already have our contact information, but
yeah, but if you want to share it,
definitely we'll provide that. My wife's 707-410-7179.
I'm glad you remember that one, though.
Absolutely. Yes. No, she's been doing this for a long time, as you're well aware.
And people can find you guys on Zillow?
You can find us on Zillow. We do advertise there as well. Reach us on our RE/MAX website. We'll leave you with that link as well.
And that's Teresa Rollins.
Teresa Rollins.
Got it. All right. Well, Chris, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. And you're the man. Thanks.
Appreciate it, Meinoh. Thanks for your time.